And joining us now, former federal judge and president of Dickinson College, Jon Jones. Really good to have you. What's your reaction to the way that DOJ has treated these rulings?
I think, Katie, first of all, it's good to be here. I think what is taking place is that the government, I would say, using a word that fits, is they're temporizing. They know that this is going to go in front of a panel of the circuit court probably next week to decide the issue of whether to dissolve the injunction. So using, the sort of greater analogy of a stall on a basketball court, that's what they're doing. I mean, they're in a stall maneuver. They're playing hide the ball with this information quite clearly. You know, I spent 19 and a half years in the federal bench, and I can see a stall, or I know a stall when I see one. And Lisa gave a really good analysis. And at the heart of this, Katie, there are factual questions that have to be answered about the application of this archaic 200-year-old act. And the president's position, the administration's position, is basically trust us. If we say it, it's so. But that's not the way the legal system works.
There's also, there's a number of cases that have been either, put on a temporary hold or moves the Trump administration has made or been overruled outright. There's also a case in the Pentagon that caught our attention today. This is on the transgender ban. A U.S. district judge, her name is Judge Anna Reyes, was very upset at DOJ for the way it was trying to argue this transgender ban in court, and the difference between the way they talked about it and the way the administration was talking about it publicly. And she said, quote, "I'm not going to abide by government officials saying one thing to the public, saying what they really mean to the public, and coming in here to the court and telling me something different, like I'm an idiot," her words. "I am not an idiot," she said. I mean, they're saying that DOJ coming in and saying this isn't really a transgender ban, this is a fitness ban. If you have mental issues, gender dysmorphia, you can't serve. But at the same time, you have people like Pete Hegseth coming out and saying we don't want any transgender people serving in the military, period.
Well, good for her. And you see differences in judicial temperament. Judge Boasberg is pretty, even-tempered and steady. And obviously, Judge Reyes had enough of it. And putting it in the context of the deportation case, Katie, you had Tom Homan out on the White House lawn saying, "I don't care what judges say. I don't care about court orders. We're going to do what we please," when at the same time the government lawyers were in court protesting that they didn't violate the dictates of Judge Boasberg's injunction. Exactly the same circumstance. I've never seen anything quite like this, where the administration in real time is cutting the legs out from under their attorneys. And it's disingenuous and really frustrating to a judge. Because it smacks of dishonesty, and no judge wants that in his or her courtroom.
Judge, I found myself in the position of trying to explain what's going on to my 15-year-old son yesterday, and explain why the administration is taking steps they're taking, what they're arguing about free speech, what they're arguing about these alleged gang members, and trying to explain why there is a process in place, why these sorts of things need to be adjudicated. Can you help me explain it? If somebody's questioning, why would you want these so-called terrorists in the country? Why would you want anyone in the country who might be speaking out against our foreign policy? Explain why it's important to go through a process.
Because our Constitution affords rights, even to aliens who are in this country. And that's enshrined in our law for hundreds of years. And so what we don't do in the United States of America under our legal precepts and our really treasured legal system is just summarily sentence people, for alleged crimes, or in this case, move them out of the country without due process of law, meaning that they have the opportunity to explain, for example, in this context, why they shouldn't be covered by the act. They'd still be in custody. Nobody suggested they should be let out on the tarmac if the planes turned around and came back to the airport. So, the idea is that if we chip away at these folks, some of whom may not have been deportable, even if you stretch the act to cover their actions. If we rob due process here, Katie, and I would say this to your 15-year-old son, where's the next place that we take due process away? What's the next area where your rights, your constitutional rights, get chipped away? Because it starts one place, but it doesn't end there.
I'll make sure to put this conversation on social media where he might actually see it. Judge Jones, thank you very much for joining us.